Let me tell you something most women never expect to hear from a man my age. When you walk through that restaurant door for a first date after 60, he is not measuring you against the woman you were at 30. He is not counting the years on your hands the way some online checklists taught you to fear. He's watching for something quieter than that, something smaller. Something that tells him in the first few minutes whether you feel safe enough in your own skin to let him in. Here's what nobody warns you about before that date. There are 5 exact moments in that first hour where he quietly makes up his mind, not because of how flawless you look, but because of what those moments reveal about how ready you are to be loved again. Going to walk you through all 5 tonight, starting with the one that happens before either of you even sits down. Body Part 1. Posture at arrival. The moment that decides the most isn't the dinner conversation. It isn't the bill, the goodnight hug, or even whether he asks for a second date. It's the 8 seconds it takes you to walk from the restaurant door to the table. Most women spend the whole week before a first date worrying about the wrong 8 seconds. They worry about their hair, they worry about their dress, or whether their hands look their age. But your body does something the instant you step through that door, something you've probably never thought to watch for, and it speaks louder than anything you're wearing. If you've been out of dating for 20 or 30 years, your shoulders climb a little. Your steps get shorter. Your eyes drop to the floor instead of finding the room. The American Psychological Association describes this exact reaction as a normal stress response. The same one that shows up before a job interview or a flight you're nervous about. It has nothing to do with how attractive you are. It has everything to do with how unfamiliar this feels. 20 or 30 years is a long time for any part of you to relearn a skill you once knew without thinking. Here's where I'll disagree with almost every dating article you've read. They tell you to fix your posture by standing taller, pulling your shoulders back, and walking in like you own the room. I think that's backwards. You don't undo tension by putting confidence on top of it. You undo it by naming what's actually happening in your body before you walk in. 3 slow breaths in the car. 1 conscious drop of your shoulders before your hand touches the door. That's not a trick to look more confident. It's just giving your nervous system a few seconds to catch up with where you actually are, which is somewhere brave, not somewhere broken. A man on the other side of that door isn't measuring your posture against some idea of perfect confidence. He's reading whether you seem at ease in the few seconds before either of you says a word. Ease doesn't come from forcing your shoulders into place. It comes from letting them know they're allowed to drop. That's the difference between a posture that's performing and a posture that's resting. And he can feel it even before either of you says a word. So before you walk in next time, don't ask yourself how you look. Ask yourself if you've given your body permission to arrive. Once your shoulders settle into that kind of ease, something else happens almost right away. The first moment your eyes actually meet his across the table. Body Part 2. Eye contact at the table. You're 3 minutes into the date, and you catch yourself glancing at the menu instead of his face for the second time. You tell yourself it's because you're choosing between the salmon and the pasta. It isn't. Your eyes are doing something they learned how to do a long time ago, and it has nothing to do with the menu, or with him, or with how attractive you find his face. Looking away from someone new isn't rudeness. It isn't disinterested either. After a marriage ends or a long relationship closes, your eyes get cautious before the rest of you catches up. They check the exits. They check his hands. They check his face for anything that looks like the last person who hurt you, even when nothing about him resembles that person at all. This isn't something you decided to do. Your body decided it for you years before tonight. That's not something to fix in a week. Most dating advice will tell you to simply hold his gaze longer, as if confidence were something you could force into your face. That's the wrong fix entirely. Forcing eye contact before your body is ready just teaches your nervous system that vigilance doesn't work either way. And that's a worse lesson than the one you're trying to unlearn. You don't need to force eye contact to prove you're ready. Need permission to look away for a second and come back, the way anyone does when something matters enough to be careful with. Notice when you do come back on your own without him asking. That return, however small, is the actual signal. It tells him you're choosing this, not performing it. A confident woman in this exact situation isn't the one who never looks away. She's the one who comes back. Looking away isn't the absence of interest. It's the presence of memory. When your gaze drifts back to him without effort, you feel the tension leave your face, and a quiet smile appears just before the evening's first genuine laugh. Body Part 3. The first real laugh. A nervous laugh and a real laugh come out of the same mouth, but they never sound the same. The first one is quick, a little too loud, gone before it lands. The second one arrives late and stays a beat longer than you expect. You'll hear the difference in him before you ever hear it in yourself. Neither one means you're doing anything wrong tonight. Watch the corners of someone's eyes the next time they really laugh. They crease before the mouth even moves all the way. It happens on its own, the way a held breath finally lets go. That's the version of a smile that can't be rehearsed in a mirror, no matter how many times you practice it. If you haven't dated in years, the first few minutes can feel stiff. Your laugh might come out a half-second late or land a little flat. Your hands might find the napkin instead of staying still. That's not you failing at this. That's just rust, and rust comes off with use, not with worry. That stiffness is not proof that you've forgotten how to connect. It's proof that this still matters enough to make you nervous. People who don't care don't get nervous at all. Plenty of people will tell you to walk in, ready to charm, jokes loaded, energy turned all the way up from the first hello. That's the wrong advice for tonight. Forcing the laugh before it's real teaches you to perform instead of relax. And he can usually tell the difference, even when he never says so. Real warmth doesn't arrive on command. Let the first few minutes feel a little quiet if they need to. Let a joke land flat without rushing to explain it. A quiet pause isn't a verdict on how the night is going. The real laugh will show up on its own time, usually somewhere around the second story, not the first. If it takes until dessert, that's fine too. You don't owe anyone a laugh before you mean it. By the time you are laughing without thinking about it, the evening has already begun to unfold on its own. A brief touch of his hand, casual and unplanned, feels surprisingly familiar. Body, Part 4. Hands at the greeting. Do you go in for the handshake, lean toward a hug, or just stand there for a second, hoping he decides first? Most people freeze on exactly that question for half a second before anything happens. It's such a small moment that almost no one talks about it. Yet, it's often the very first thing that goes a little wrong. It happens before either of you has even said more than hello. If it's been 20 or 30 years since you greeted someone you were romantically interested in, your body genuinely doesn't have a default script for this anymore. One hand might lift halfway, then drop, then lift again a second too late. None of that is clumsiness in the way you think it is. It's a script that simply hasn't been used in a long time. It's two people, both a little rusty, trying to agree on a greeting in real time with no rehearsal. Watch closely the next time two people meet after years apart. The hands almost always hover for a second before they land anywhere. That hover isn't hesitation about each other. It's just the gap where the old script used to be. Then, this moment carries more weight than people assume, because it's the first time either of you actually touches, even briefly. Everything before it happened at a comfortable distance. The body notices that difference, even when you're not thinking about it consciously, because some advice will tell you to decide ahead of time. Practice your handshake. Settle it before you even leave the house. I'd skip that homework entirely. Planning a greeting in advance usually makes it stiffer, not smoother, because you're acting out a decision instead of actually meeting the person standing in front of you. What actually works is simpler than any of that. Let him make the first small move and follow his lead by half a beat. Or just say what's happening out loud, something like, "I always forget how to do this part," and laugh about it together. A little named awkwardness disappears almost as fast as it shows up. That same nervous energy in your hands doesn't just disappear once you're seated. It moves up into your shoulders, and it tends to stay there long after the goodnight hug, especially once you're home, alone, checking your phone. Body. Part 5. Neck and shoulders after goodnight. Everyone assumes the hardest part of a first date is the date itself. For most women's starting over after 60, the harder part starts after you've already said goodnight. You're home, shoes off, replaying the evening before you've even taken your coat off properly. Your shoulders still haven't gotten the message that the evening is over. They stay up near your ears. Your jaw stays tight enough to notice. You keep glancing at your phone, even though you told yourself you wouldn't check it for at least an hour. 5 minutes later, you check it anyway. That's not weakness. It's just nervous energy looking for somewhere to go. Waiting for a reply used to mean waiting for a phone call that either came or didn't. Now it means watching 3 small dots appear and disappear, sometimes for an hour, with no clear rule for what any of it means. Nobody handed you a manual for this part, and that's not your fault. That alone is enough to put anyone on edge. That tension isn't the weight of your whole life catching up with you. It's something much smaller and much more specific. It's the waiting, the part where you don't know yet if there's a second date, and your body treats not knowing like a small emergency, even when nothing is actually wrong. People will tell you not to overthink it, to just relax and let it happen naturally. That's easy to say. It's nearly impossible to do when your shoulders are the ones holding the question, not your mind. You can't outthink a body that's already braced for an answer. Notice where the tension actually sits right now. Neck, jaw, or shoulders. Take one slow breath and let that one spot drop just slightly. You don't have to fix the whole evening's worth of nerves at once. One spot is enough to start, and it counts even if nothing about the weight has changed yet. The waiting doesn't decide whether tonight mattered. You already decided that the moment you walked in. These 5 things were never a checklist to pass. Not the way you walk in, not your eyes, not your laugh, your hands, or your shoulders. They were always just small moments where you get to choose presence over performance, one breath at a time. Fear. If you're sitting at home right now, dreading a date you haven't even agreed to yet, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not starting from zero. You're starting from 60 years of knowing exactly who you are, and that's not a disadvantage. That's the one thing a 25-year-old in this exact situation doesn't have yet. Tonight might be your first date in decades, or it might still be 3 weeks away on the calendar. Either way, the work isn't fixing 5 things about your body. It's just noticing they're already telling the truth about you. This felt like something you needed to hear tonight. Hit like so. More women in your seat can find it too. And subscribe if you want a steady voice in your corner as you keep going.